everyone, welcome back to our channel. Ruth here, and in today's video I'm excited to share with you how the rich think. Think yourself out of poverty in 5 simple steps. So let's get started. Number 1, the rich always think that being wealthy is a good thing. Now that might sound a little surprising because, believe it or not, there are people who actually think that being wealthy is bad. The thing is this, money and being wealthy is not a dirty word, and it's not unholy to be wealthy. And do you know what? The fact of the matter is you attract what you believe. When I was growing up, we go to Sunday school and we learn about money being the root of all evil. But is that correct? Well, no. The thing is, the Bible doesn't actually say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. What does it mean? It means if your love for money is greater than anything else, is greater than your values, is greater than honesty, integrity, then you know what? It can be the root of all evil. And that's quite true, because if you look at today with the world, there are successful business owners who are righteous, who keep to their values. They are people of integrity, and they sow to charities and organizations. They make huge donations. They're philanthropists. But there are also business people that are not really known, but they're in the hidden world. They're in the underground world, and this could be them, selling children, selling organs, and I'm not going to get into the really, gory things, but there are things happening right now that are not great. And you know what? These people, are they successful? Well, monetary wise, yeah, they could be very, very successful, but the thing is they have no values and they have no integrity. They are not honest, and as such, they could get into trouble with the law as well. So it's important that we change our mindset to say, hey, being wealthy is actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And sometimes, inadvertently, when we're growing up, maybe our parents, perhaps we grew up in a mediocre home, that's not overly rich, and perhaps your family have said something about a relative who is rich or a friend who is rich, and there's almost like a bad taste to it. So I'm not sure if you've experienced that. It's almost like, oh, so and so is rich, or they drive this car, and you feel like, oh, that's actually unholy. That's not good. It's not good that they are rich, because they're stealing from us. No, that's not true, because if you think that way, then you attract what you believe. So it's important that you actually change your mind and begin to think, you know what, there's nothing wrong being wealthy, because if you want to be wealthy, you need to actually believe that being wealthy is actually okay and it's good. And you know what, if you mix that with your passion, your skills, and your ability to generate an income and finances with integrity, with your values, you can actually do a lot of good for the community. You can actually do a lot of good to help people. I remember when I first graduated from law school, this is probably about 14 years ago now, I was completely broke. I couldn't even, I didn't even have a car. I couldn't even afford to actually get on a bus because I had all these study loans, and I had to actually walk to work, and it was the middle of winter here in Australia. It was really, really cold. And, at the time, I couldn't do much for other people, but now I'm in a position where, I got to pay off my debt, my study loan, and I'm in a position where I actually am able to support an orphanage. So my husband and I, we support an orphanage back in Africa. We actually give to a school, and is actually a primary school where half of the students are paying students and the other half are orphans from the street, and they actually sleep in the school and they eat in the school. And we actually had the privilege to actually go and visit them, and believe it or not, it's actually run by my husband's uncle. So it's actually his dad's brother, because he's African. My husband's African actually. So we had the privilege to go. But you see, if we're not in a position to even meet ends meet, we couldn't be doing these things to actually help more people. So it's important that we have the right mindset that being wealthy is a good thing. Money is not evil. It depends on how you use it, because if you use it well, money can actually serve you and help others. Number 2, the rich actually think business. Now that's interesting. I actually listened to Douglas Kruger. He actually talks a lot about being, how to think yourself out of poverty. He's actually a South African Toastmaster speaker, author, fantastic teaching. And he was talking about how the rich actually own the sale. So what do you mean? What does he mean by that? Well, they own the sale in a sense that, see, if you're working for someone else, you're actually making them rich, right? But if you own the cell, that's actually given you the opportunity to be wealthy in a much quicker way. For example, some of you might have seen Medea, Tyler Perry, this Hollywood actor. He is actually one of the highest paid actor. But did you know that that's because he owns the cell? He actually owns, directs, and acts in his own movie, which means if he sells his movie and he makes money, guess what? A majority of it will come back to him. He doesn't just get paid as an employee. Now, Oprah Winfrey is another person who is actually really wise, because she started to become famous in a talk show, and at one point she actually offered and say, hey, would you mind if I buy this show? And so she actually owns her talk show, and for that reason she's actually right now the one of the most wealthiest person on planet Earth, because she owns the cell. So if you want to become rich, it's important that you begin to think, how can I own the cell? You might want to start thinking about starting a business. You might want to start thinking about investing. Number 3, the rich is always open to learning, and they never stop learning. They have an attitude where they do not know it all. Now, have you ever met a person where, you're trying to say something to them, or you're giving them, your opinion, and they feel like, everyone else in the world is wrong. They have their own theory. They feel like everyone else, have conspiracy theory, whatever, and they're always right and they know every single thing. Now, it's very, very dangerous actually to be in that position, because the truth of the matter is none of us know everything. And sometimes, even if we think we know it all, guess what? We don't know it all. We could be making a mistake. And there could be different opinions, different circumstances, different facts of the case. Now, at the time of recording of this video, I'm a partner in a law firm. And one thing I learned from being a lawyer is that there is not a single case that is exactly the same. You might have similar facts, similar circumstances, but they're all unique. And if you want to win the case, you need to apply the law, and you need to actually apply it to the facts of the case based on the circumstances of the case. You can't just copy and paste. So for that reason, the rich are actually open to learning. They feel like they don't know it all. So it's so important that if you want to be wealthy, you keep on learning and you do not stop learning. Whether it's in your career, you want to be the best in your field, whether it's in investing, whether it's in business, whatever it might be, keep on and keep on learning. Number 4, the rich always think that failure is part of success. Did you know that most business owners and successful people, especially millionaires and billionaires, they've all gone through failures, and a lot of them actually have gone through bankruptcy. Believe it or not, it's amazing. But their mentality is that they feel like, well, I might have failed, I might have been bankrupted a couple of times, but they never give up. They always stand back up and go, you know what, what's the next thing I can do? Can I try this again? And as a result of that, today they're listed on Forbes, one of Forbes' richest people on earth. They are millionaires and billionaires. And that's because they feel and they think that failure is actually part of success. Failure is not the end of the world. It is part of the journey. Number 5, rich people harbor good thoughts when other people are successful, and they're not jealous. Now that's important because remember when I was sharing the first point, you actually attract what you believe. You see, the thing is, jealousy, my husband always say jealousy is one of the most useless emotion, apart from worrying, he says, so useless, he says. But it's so important that we celebrate others' success. I remember one time my husband and I, we were on holidays. We were visiting family members in Africa, and also at the same time we went and visited orphanages, and we had a great time, on a plane, and we went to the beach, and we posted something on Facebook. This is many, many years ago now, and someone commented, and we can tell they were feeling very miserable about it, and they even told us and said, they were very jealous of their friends who were able to go on holidays, and they couldn't understand why people can go on holidays but they couldn't. But the fact of the matter is, we need to learn to celebrate others' success. For example, before my husband and I got to where we are today, we're business owners, we're financially stable, we consult with businesses, I'm a partner in a firm. But before that, we had nothing. We used to, we rented a room. and if I tell you the stories, you probably wouldn't even believe it. But anyways, we were content when we were a base. And I remember, when we saw someone driving a luxury car or living in a beautiful house, instead of complaining and saying, oh, how dare this person, they're stealing from us, we don't say that. But you know what we say? We say, you know what? If they are blessed, if they can do it, if God can bless them, then it can be the same for us. We're next, So until today, we still have the same attitude and mentality. Instead of criticizing and saying, oh, this YouTuber make, $1 million, how dare they? Well, maybe it's time for us to think and say, hey, maybe you can start a YouTube channel too. Maybe you can start a business too. Maybe you can also invest. So it's so important that we have good thoughts towards other people, because that's what wealthy people do. They actually harbor good thoughts towards wealthy people, and they're not always jealous. So I hope that the contents of this video are helpful to you. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And I hope to see you next time. And last but not least, if you would be so kind to hit the like and subscribe button, it's going to help us keep you motivated. But you know what? It's going to mean the world to me. So thank you very much once again. And I'll see you next time. Bye.